finals in Australian Open 2012. That went the distance, obviously 3 sets a day, but almost 4 hours. Some, phases of the match went the way of one player, some the other player. We went kind of toe-to-toe. I started off better, but then he just struggled a lot physically on the court. He used it. He was setting a break. Yeah, when he played a poor game to give me the break, and I was quite solid that game, and I thought, okay, maybe I have a chance. Then I, fought and believed that I could make it, and then it was really anybody's game. I thought the third set, had many chances, maybe even for double break, and the match point at 5-3 was unbelievable. It was a kind of a showcase of, what this whole match was about. That match point saved from him. And, just one of the most exciting and toughest mentally, emotionally, physically matches that I've ever had in my career. Thank you. Grazie.
Obviously, people have known about Alcaraz for a long time and his ability and his complete game, whatever, but has his the emotional and mental strength, has that surprised you in your last 2 kind of battles with him and how he's just hung with you?
It doesn't surprise me anymore. I mean, it was surprising me maybe, I don't know, end of last year or beginning of this year. I mean, what he was doing, the way he won big matches, big tournaments, so impressive. I mean, coming out in important moments, going for it, brave. I mean, you just have to put your heads down to a guy like that, who plays so maturely and handles the pressure.
All right. Hello, all right, you guys. Ryan, ESK. I don't know what I did with my glasses, but I'm not going to get up and go find them because the hamster is coming on anytime. Another tough day. Why? What's happening? I don't know what's happening. Yeah, I forget who it was on here who told me that Djokovic is done. And I said, well, only meat is done. Not that I know, but somebody told me that. Anyway, I don't think Djokovic is finished. I will say I went out, I watched the match, and when it was, he lost the first set, and then it went to 2-4 to the bad guy. I just quit. My heart, I couldn't take it. And then later on, I fully expected when I opened my computer to see that the young upstart had won again. And instead, it was this enormous praise for Djokovic. So I watched the rerun of the match, and I still had it. My heart was still going. What a match. What a match. I still wish he had won Wimbledon. I think he could have. Lucky is doing very well. I'm looking at him as I'm speaking to you. His back legs have lost muscle mass. They're kind of cut in on themselves. But he's focused on me. I'm not sure how much he hears or really sees. But he enjoys his walks. He's able to come upstairs, although I try to carry him. And we've had some legitimate walks. I'm a little worried that once I stop the steroids, it'll be like everything catches. It'll be like a woman taking off a girdle or something. Anyway, we'll find out. I hope I get a lot more time with him, but it'll be different time. It'll be different time. But he's still happy to meet people. He's still happy to say hi to other dogs, at least briefly, because he's a little bit, he's a little bit superior to other dogs. No, he's not. He just gets bored. once he's determined who they are, he goes back to his stately presence. Who was Not Legal Advice's guest? Was it Anna, Queen of Trades? Guys, I think there's a lot of, I've put forth various theories, including that I think there's a lot of people in New York who know each other, and it's a lot of money slushing around. A lot of money. More than ever went through one of the foundations that I think corrupted our government massively. But you can't quite prove everything. That's what lawyers want, is proof. That's what the boo birds want. But the evidence, as far as I'm concerned, is there in the stock prices and in the manipulation, and then also in the attacks. People come in and attack. I don't know who to trust on these space calls. I don't know who to trust here when I'm answering questions. I've grown a list of people that I kind of trust. Many of you were on it. And there's, maybe a handful of people I just trust. Otherwise, if it's a new name, if it's someone that's attacking Anna, for example, my trust level goes way down. Everybody is trying to do their best. Everybody is shocked at the level of corruption, which I think is bought and paid for by Goldman Sachs et al., all those top type agglomerators of funds who are no brighter than you are. They might have started on the planet from a different gene pool, and they might have gotten into Harvard or Yale or something, but they're no brighter than you are. They hide their lack of skills behind Greek alphabet letters and glossy investment theses, and they cheat. As a Democrat, are you not concerned about the corruption that they have not only done the DNC party, Bernie, and giving questions debate, and the social media propaganda and abuse when JFK wouldn't be a Democrat in today's? Yeah, I'm very concerned, and I think my views come across as much as as much as I try to stick to the party line that all of our ills are Trump and straight white males. Yeah, I'm very concerned, and but I don't think the Republican Party is better. I think some in the Republican Party are better. My list of Democrats that I admire is very short right now. One of them is about to die. But yeah, it concerns me greatly. I think one of the things that separates our country from the rest of the world is that you get to have your opinion, I get to have mine. We can talk about it. You don't go to jail, I don't go to jail. It's our right to gather. It's our right to protest. It's our right to, well, I don't know if it's a right, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, but it's a presumed right that we have a free press. I don't know how that's written down in the first 10 amendments. Just that we have individual rights, and you don't know what I think, but if in some novel somewhere written, like The Manchurian Candidate or something, I think a lot of our government and our media has been captured, and I wonder if it's business first or if it's a foreign government with long-term planning. But a lot of what's going on inside of our country right now, if we were at war, and I'm not saying that we are, but if we were, a lot of the things that are happening would seem like enemy sabotage. And no one cares. No one cares. And it's just, it's the level of illusion that human beings collectively and individually can live under. But it'll come smack us upside the head the first time reality intrudes, as it always does. And then I don't know that we'll be ready. And the thing that will keep us safe is that we allow each of us to tell the other, hey, it's a free country. You know, what do you care what I say? It's a free country. What do you care who I invite over to my house? It's a free country. Who do you care who I vote for? It's a free country. Who do you care where I go to college? It's a free country. Who do you care which political rally I go to? It's a free country. We have a free country, and if we can keep that, we'll be all right. We'll be all right. Okay, I got to call into the head. Don't call me a head. He now takes marijuana to go to sleep. Well, whatever CBD means.
All right, William, you ready?
Hit the ground running.
All right, hold on. All right, everybody, another day of security fraud. We're trying to end it faster than you can, but it's not easy. Number one, let's congratulate William and his tennis star, Djokovic.
Yay!
The young tennis star who no one ever heard of before. Won his like 1 million tournament in Cincinnati, and hopefully he carry it for the U.S. Open for William. I wish you the best. See, when you root for a school like Florida State, we know that we don't have to worry about them beating up on LSU, so that's a little different. The competition is nothing like what Djokovic faces. Anyway, this is not to buy or sell. This is for with our opinions. If the SECs are listening, as we like to say, fuck you, scumbags, for allowing this to continue every day. I met with a bunch of investors and people that potentially can be buyers, and they all say the same thing. How do they keep allowing it to happen? We're all watching it. Everybody knows. And my answer is it has to be so massive they don't know what to do. Because it's impossible that every senator, every politician has no clue what's going on at this point in the game. All right, this is very different from years ago. Social media, posting, MMTLP people have been ripping people apart for days, every day. And it's just amazing that it continues, But again, at the end of the day, they have to buy back the shares that they sold. And I'll just change it for a second. I've been following the video just to show everybody what volatility looks like. And the other day, the stock was 460 on the August 11th. August 7th, I posted it. It was 460. I told you they were warming up to hit it. They nailed it down to 403. Then it bounced back to 452. drove it back down, and it closed at 433 on Friday, and today I think it's up 30 points. I'm not even sure anymore what the hell it is. That, my friends, is volatility. Wall Street needs volatility. The shorts need volatility because they want to short it, attack it, try to cover, run it back up again. It's a whole big game, and everyone's playing options. It's like the casino. No one knows what the hell's going on. The manipulation is out of control. You could either make a lot of money or get wiped out super fast. I'm talking about like in hours. You can get wiped out in that game. So it's something to watch. If you want to learn how to trade options, don't look at the options. Paper trade, write it down, because the premiums are going to be enormous. And just look at it and say, okay, the stock is 460. The 480 calls on this date with this much money. And then check back on option expiration and see what happens if you were held on. And this is how you learn about options. You actually have to do something about it. Everyone stay with me. I just have to grab this for 1 second.
I'm sure it's his wife. Can you ask him? I'll ask him. It's kind of a provocative question. But it's, your skepticism is exactly what I think you have to treat this whole situation with. It's so much money. So much money. I think the Trump Foundation raised money from Russia and Ukraine and countries around the world. They did the Trump climate initiative, and they raised hundreds of millions of dollars. And I think that corrupted. Trump raised all that money for Haiti, that nothing happened. But here, it's not millions or billions. It is trillions of dollars. And you've just got to be skeptical. Any trick they can think of. You're right. You're right to question. My camera is wobbly. I'm just making your knees wobble. Only if you're a girl. Only if you're a woman.
The mailbox belonging.
I wasn't talking politics. I was talking the trillions of dollars in the shorts.
The mailbox belonging.
But I was comparing it. All right, so I got disconnected. We'll just have to carry. Will they halt GTI and figure? Yeah, whenever there's good news, they
William?
yeah.
I'm sorry, I got kicked off. Hold on. I'm sorry, everybody. I was talking about NVIDIA and I got booted off, and I was speaking to myself, I guess. GTI came out with some news. They have a business now, so it has some fundamentals. And just like MULN, AMC, CELU, CVM, Northwest Bio, you name it, everyone has fundamentals, and they still short the shit out of the names. So again, I'm not a believer in fundamentals. Okay, when you have fundamentals like finger motion and actually has the cash to back it up behind it, that's a different story. Okay, finger motion has fundamentals. You make your own determination on that, but they actually are fully funded, and actually, their revenue is exploding. And it's a very different story than these other companies that are all startups. It's much more mature than the other ones. So again, you look at the fundamentals, you choose what you like to see. On a company like GTII or these other crazy names, having any business is what the bashes always attack you. The company is not worth anything. It doesn't have a business. It doesn't make a difference what they do. They make it short everything. The system is completely fraudulent. It's broken. And I just want to make sure you guys understand that. We don't control any of this nonsense. But again, we're trying to help exploit it and get it exposed so we can stop this nonsense altogether. Yeah, you have any questions, William, or should I just keep going?
Yeah, you can just keep. I only have 3. Why don't you keep going? I'll see if they add up to more than that.
All right. So again, I was, GTI came out with their deal this morning, and what happened on the opening? The first thing they do is what does their crackerjack research team do, William?
So
they sell it. I'm reading it, and the stock is already being sold. Like, I'm trying to figure out what exactly it is, and the stock is ticking down already. So someone who actually, I have no idea. We know they don't read anything, and they just hit the sell button. All they do, they just continue to do the same thing.
They're just cleansing the market, making sure that, any upside is washed out of all stocks.
Right. Any good news, I put it up on Twitter. I said the company wasted time with the lawyers closing a deal, writing a press release, doing a filing to put it out there as a negative report. And to sell it down, it doesn't make a difference. Whatever we do, sell it. Doesn't make a difference. That's how I look at it. Every stock is the same. Every stock has the same stupid pattern. So again, we have to figure out a way what's going to stop this and expose it. And I think
it's got to be a regulator. And Gensler, I sat in Congress and watched him. He defers to the courts. And if things go into the court system, that works in the advantage of the criminals because it just takes time. We need a regulator that enforces the rules and enforces settlement.
Because all the rules are on the books already, right? They're all there.
I think so. I mean, from what I read, they're there.
Right. And they have to cut out this option make exemption also because they're manipulating the markets also, as you can see. In any stock, they can push them down. They create stock, they bash them, they knock them down, and it has no rhyme or reason or anything to do with the equity markets. It's just another form of manipulation. I don't want to get into it and try to teach you that game, but obviously we can all see what goes on. All right. What was I going to say? I'm trying to think of something I wanted to say. Oh, it went blank for a second. I'm sorry. I don't have my iPad with me. I'm away from my home, so I'm shooting from the hip, as you say. What was I going to say? Oh, geez, I'm blank for a second.
You were talking about the news and shorting the news.
Oh, yeah. No, basically, any news that comes out, and they just lay into it. They want today's news to be on the back burner as a non-event, so investors don't actually read that the company's doing something. That's, whatever the news may be, whether it's working on cancer, it doesn't make a difference. Get it off the news, move it down the road, and they can sit there, and the investors can say, that story doesn't mean anything. It didn't do anything to the stock, because that's how investors all think of the same way. Not that the company has a chance to hit a home run, which you never know, right? But they don't care about that. That's just the fact. All right. Now going to finger motion, the stock's been drifting. Again, I can't control people who buy the stock. I've always said accumulation is the best way to do it. You want to buy it, you buy 1,000 shares, you buy 200, get an average price. The short sellers, if they thought they can win, they let the stock go higher. As soon as you take it, they offer it lower and lower, because they need people to sell. It's clear as a bell. You can see it. If you're blind, you can see what they're trying to do. So they're just digging a deeper hole. No one's really selling the stock. They are definitely playing games and washing some stock in single motion today. I've seen some trades that just all of a sudden happened out of the blue with no bids. And all of a sudden they cross, 4,800 shares, and now it's offered and moving low with no bids and no trades. So they're definitely selling it back and forth to create the appearance that there's a big seller today or some nonsense. And I'm sure if we can fast forward to 5:30 and Dozer reports the short interest, I think the short number is going to be somewhere between 35 and 39%, because it's going to be on the low end because a lot of the trades are make-believe trades. So that's when you see at the low end. When the stock's moving up and you see them laying into it, then you know the short's going to be on the high end. It's pretty easy to see. All right, William, you have
Yeah, sure.
questions? So I get my train of thought back on. I lost myself.
Sure.
I'm sorry.
Did you see the article from Frank Nez talking about how dark pool volume has gone up under Gary Gensler's term?
Dark pools, I got it. In the old days, we used to have Instinet. Everybody did that. They did all the trades on Instinet. They used to cross them. And at the end of the day, it comes down to one thing. They have to settle the trades. But no matter where it's trading, whoever you bought the stock from, and I always say it, I don't care if it's the man on the moon that sold it to me, he better deliver the stock that I purchased. That's the problem. Dark pools is, who gives a shit? I got it. It's just changing the subject matter so everybody focuses on a dark pool. It's stock settlement. Forget the dark pool. It means nothing. If someone wants to sell me the stock at $4.60, they better deliver it. I don't care if it's a dark pool who sold it to me. They just can't keep flooding the market with counterfeits and no one settled the transactions. That's the problem. And for 23 years, the SEC has a way of getting naked short selling off the headline news and replacing it with something else. And if you look at it, when GameStop got hot, everyone talked about naked short selling, AMC, it was in the news, all over the journal. Now, once the bank stocks, they destroyed the bank stocks, you never hear about that again, right? How many billions was stolen on the bank short attack? They put the banks out of business, right? They put the banks out of business in a couple of days. No big deal. Billions stolen. Who owned the stocks besides the people that worked at the banks and the people in the area? Your pension fund probably owned it and took a big hit for it, and they spread it all out so everybody loses. And that's how they do it. Next. What's next?
If the computers always run the trades and keep the price down, how will buying ever cause the price to go up?
Well, it's basically settlement, right?
Yeah.
That's number one. So everyone's working on that. They can't have this continue. Everybody knows about it. I've been doing this for 23 years. When I started doing this, if you go look at the Wall Street conspiracy, when she did a story, Christina Copeland, she said there was a small group of people that were running around telling the story about naked short selling. There's got to be a million of us now talking about it. Just go on AMC, GME, go listen to those people, MMTLP, GTII, FNGR, ASRE, all these companies, MULN, everybody knows. Investors are all seeing it, and we're trying to do is educate and unite everybody so they understand it. Once you start, like my older brother told me, the Romans fought together, and that's how they won. When they break apart, the barbarians kill the Romans because they were smaller. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to educate everybody. I don't give a shit if you buy the stock or not, or any stocks. But you got to know what's going on. And if you want to help protect your family, repost, send them email, call the SEC, call the DOJ, and report the crime. That's all you have to do. If we keep doing it in numbers, it will stop. MMTLP got letters from people in D.C. to the SEC demanding answers. They didn't do that in 2 days. They worked a couple of months and they got it all done. Think about that. Anna got this thing down in D.C. She got a bunch of people there. It started. Everyone thought it was a joke. Look how fast it escalated. Now the politicians they're stuck here. How are they going to hide from? They need to get answers back to the people. Even if they wrote the letter and didn't understand what the hell they were writing, now they got a problem.
Yeah.
Because people want answers now. And I kind of put up a story about how Pete Sessions is funded for $2 million by the hedge fund community. No shit. It's been going on 23 years. Whereas these guys have their heads up their asses hiding and protecting the hedge funds. We know they get the money. But you know what? I'm not chasing that rabbit hole. We're here for stock settlement. Everything that goes on Wall Street is to rob your money. Plain and simple. You can make a couple of crumbs. You'll get a big winner. They want you to come back to the casino and just keep coming back. At least in Las Vegas, they give you a free drink in a room. These guys just rob you, couldn't care less. Yeah, Bill.
Were the investors you met with last week fakes? Did they just try to get the price up to help the shorts?
Yes, they were all fakes. I met with them for the third time. They were all fakes, yes.
It's not my question.
No. Listen, people, I can't control what people do with their money. I don't meet with stooges. I meet with real people, all right? I'm a 23-year vet of fighting naked shorts. I'm a 40-year vet on a trading desk on Wall Street. Trust me, I know who I'm meeting with and what they do. But I can't pull the trigger and say, hurry up, move the stock higher.
Will they halt GTII or FNGR like MMTLP?
No. MMTLP is a complete fraud by the short sellers. That's why it was halted. The whole thing, listing a dividend with no management. So they were trying to cover their shorts from the torchlight days, so they had no choice. That is a criminal that was busted and caught. They try anything, right?
Right.
That's what they do. That's what criminals do. They're caught in the bank and they can't get out. So they called on help. Regulators tried to help them out. They stopped it. The regulators got caught with the Freedom of Information, that email, which is brutal. And now the cat's out of the bag and they're all caught. So the SEC and FINRA try to cover up for the short sellers. And now they're going to take the heat for the short sellers. Now they're trying to figure a way out of this. And the problem is now you have West Christian, you have regulators, now you have politicians, and they're locked up for, how many days is it now? 250? I can't remember the number. Does anyone, the number? How many days are those people locked up?
It's 260 or something like that.
All right. So, I mean, this is turning into a major problem.
It's 10 months.
All right. This is a huge problem. And you can't hide it much longer. Someone's got to come up with an answer. You just can't keep ducking it.
Yeah.
If the stock was trading and drifting lower, that's what they want to happen because the SEC wants these things to unwind. All right? Time is a killer, and the SEC knows that. And they always say, these things, all the settlement failures will work out because that means all the investors gave up. That's their game plan. That's their idea how to fix this. By us keeping the pressure on them, okay, it's making the game, every day that it goes on, it gets worse that we're still standing around. GTII, they can play the game back and forth. It doesn't make a difference where it starts. Last time it started from 60 cents, it went to $9. All right? The company has the fundamentals. The company also has the proof from the depository trust on Alpine short position. So it's just like MMTLP. They have the proof. Why is Alpine still alive? Alpine's still alive because they're hiding something, right? But there's no way that FINRA is going to protect Alpine and sue them in court trying to put them out of business. So I think in the case of GTII, we're in a good place where, FINRA is on our side because they have no choice. They have no choice. It's either going with the shareholders or letting Alpine run amok again, looting everybody. So they have no choice here. And MMTLP, we still don't know who the real short sellers are there. In Finger Motion, we know it's Lynn. In GTI, we know it's Alpine and the Kramers. And I don't know who the short is in MMTLP. It's got to be someone powerful because they're protecting them for sure.
This AI deal, I forget the full title of it. Does it already have revenue, or do you expect revenue from it?
I haven't gone through the whole thing. I was out. I had to come home. I saw it this morning on the opening. I posted it. I told people to read it. I didn't get through it all. When I get home later, I'll figure it out.
All right. Okay.
Is that fair?
That's fair. It's fair enough.
I'm not the know-it-all of everything. I can't, I'm not a fundamental guy. So for me to tell you, I think you should read it yourself. I don't know.
AI Commerce Group. So what will trigger settlement? It seems to non-settlement has seemed to be the course of the day for a long, long time. What will trigger settlement?
I think in the case of GTII, there's a lot of things between Alpine, the fraudulent activity there that's been reported. I think that the SEC with the truck and the truck at the SEC has brought heat onto them here. That's whistleblowing. I spoke to a district attorney out of New York the other day at a party, and he said that, these type of things, as much as you want it to happen fast, because if the FBI knows about the Kramers and you put that truck in front of the SEC, he said they all know about what's going on. So, because he knew all about, he's been to the SEC, he said that the SEC, everyone in that building knows about that truck and knows about those stocks. Everything on that truck has been videotaped. They know everything about it. That's what he said. He also said, keep it going. You could keep annoying them, but, that's what he said. And that's someone that knows the SEC, knows people who work at the SEC. He's not going on a limb for me, but he gave me all the information that you could possibly ask. I asked every question that you would ask of someone with knowledge, and he said exactly what I told you. They all know about it, 100%. And if you think they're not moving on it, trust me, they are. He said they're good people, and they're there. But they, again, like you said, Gary Gensler goes by the court system, and what he's allowed to say or do, I guess, is based on the courts.
Right. Well, he's the regulator. He should act. But anyway,
again, listen. If it was me, it would have been over with already. Like Pat Burns said, vote for Donald Trump. And when Pat Burns says that once he's in office, he will make sure that they'll be focused on naked short selling. He said it on a conference call. William, I think you heard it also, right?
Right.
So I go with Pat Byrne. He's a man of word. He's a guy that's a stand-up guy. And he said, vote for Donald Trump on this issue, and we will get it done. So I know it's going to come to an end that time Pat Byrne Donald Trump gets in the office. You want to vote for somebody else? Good luck. I could care less what's going on. I want stock settlement. I want to have my family's future secure. I don't give a shit about anyone else. Republican, Democrat, I don't give a shit who's there, as long as someone settles the trades.
Yeah. When do the powerful people come into Finger?
I'm sitting here watching like you. I'm not the powerful one. I'm not the Wizard of Oz. I educate, and I do like an institutional broker would do. I tell the story to banks, hedge funds, money managers, retail, you name it. I tell the story. You make your own determination. I can't hit your computer buy button or sell button. I don't do that. I get your determination. I give you my opinion. I show you the proof. I show you the data, and I show you the outcome. And if you guys have something that I can buy that's going to go up like we know and have all the information that we studied for 3 years, post it on Twitter. Let me look at it. Because I don't know. I see all these names pop up every day. This one, that one, this one, this one, that one. We studied 2 stocks for 3 years. 3 years, 2 stocks. I learned a little bit about Wolf. My old history was following stocks like NVIDIA or Tesla. They beat the shit out of Tesla down for how many days? They finally turned it around to 13. Things like that. That's what I used to follow. That's what I would study. Elon Musk, he hated the shorts. For some reason, I don't know why he's not carrying them out. He could carry them out in a minute, but that's his business. I don't know why he's not. That's what we need. We need somebody like him to step in, issue a special dividend, like a share of a SpaceX or Twitter to the investors in Tesla. Everyone who's short won't be able to deliver it, and they'll have to cover. That's how you kill him. But you know what? He's the guy he's the most powerful guy. He can make that happen. AMC, I told you 1,000 times, so people I don't believe in the CEO. We tried, we did everything, and the guy's not fighting for you. He may make a move and whatever, and it could ignite the shorts. I don't know. I don't pay attention to it anymore. He's let it go on too long. He's had tremendous shareholders fighting for him, and everyone is losing money. And he sold his stock and he raised money for the company, and you know that's what you have. I don't know where it is from now. I couldn't tell you.
This is a similar question. Are the whales still accumulating? If so, how are they able to accumulate when there's such low volume?
Well, this is how it happens with a big player. They go backwards and they bait. It's called a bear trap. They bait the shorts into trying to sell it lower. So if the shorts come in with any sizable amounts, I'm sure they scoop them up. That would be your sign that they're here. That's how I would do it. I would suck them in, and then you move it higher. Then I pull back and suck them in, and then move it higher. It's called a bear trap. You can actually go read about it, go Google it, bear trap in the stock market, and you see how it's worked. They bait the shorts into thinking that it's a sign of weakness. The shorts run in like flies to shit, and then you catch them all.
Okay. What is the cost to borrow? How do we know on the fake shares? I guess we can figure it out on the real shares. But what's the cost to borrow?
The cost to borrow
or the cost to carry these fake positions?
Well, they have to put up margin money. Everything they do, they put up margin money on. Now they do a lot of washing of trades because once that trade trades again, it starts over. The clock starts over again. So there's a lot of free riding here. I don't know how much they're free riding. They could be parking stock in different accounts and moving it around, So let's say Williams' account is the parking lot, and I'm short 160 million shares, and I need more money. I could do a trade at a dark pool somewhere where no one sees it, and William could take 30 million shares off my hand for a few days, then put it back. We go back and forth, and the stock has these delayed settlement. There's 100 games these guys are playing, but at the end of the day, this thing lives, and it's living because every time the stock goes up, they try to move it right back down. If I didn't have a problem when I was a short, I told you I'd take the stock to 10, 12, 15. Go ahead. I would say, come on, suckers, keep paying for it. I make more money when it fails, but they can't let it go up.
Who's going to stop the criminals?
William is. He's got his big law enforcement outfit on with a big W on the front of it, right?
What's your gut telling you now about Finger and GTII?
I think it's going to explode. I think both of them. They're both teed up to go. Again, I can't tell you the second, but the activity that we watched for the last month, accumulation, all the buying went in. There's no selling coming out. So people that are buying it, don't get me wrong. I'm sure people sold their 500, 2,000, 5,000s. But the big players have been accumulating it. We're going up on millions of shares and down on 200,000 shares. That's a buy signal.
A guy with a fake name came on to let us know that, another ham call? Sheesh. Goodbye. So anyway, thank you for coming on to say goodbye.
Okay. Listen again, for the 9,000th time. This is security fraud. It's like go outside your house and you watch a scumbag like Charlie Mayo or the Seth and Kurt Kramer or their kids telling you, fuck you, or Lynn Partners stealing your money, and we can't stop them because we're not cops. They're just scumbag lowlifes. And like I said before, I wish the worst of diseases on all of them, all right, than anyone else, because they're standing here stealing, and they continue, and they don't give a rat's ass. All right? I can understand if you got short and the trade went against you, you're pissed off, and it's over with. They continue, even with the truck with their faces on it, and the FBI report, they still have the balls to stand there. That means they're hiding it, okay, and they're acting like it's not them. But at the end of the day, the money trail and the trades will lead back to them because they've been doing this for years. That money flows from whatever account it is into Charlie Mayo's white fetish with his Mercedes and his house. You can see his pictures. The other Kramer's hiding his house under his father's name. They're traveling, they're smiling, they're laughing. They belong in jail. Now, the other day I put up on Saturday in New York City, they caught a bunch of people selling counterfeit goods. They said $30 million worth of counterfeit goods. So a fake Gucci wallet that's worth $1, they must have valued it at $3,000, so whatever it is. That's how the police did the math there. They caught 8 African guys selling shit on Canal Street. And if anyone's not from New York, just go down there. They're there every day selling pocketbooks, whatever the hell you want to buy. And if you think you're buying a real Rolex off a guy with a towel on the street, on the sidewalk, then you're out of your mind anyway. You deserve to get robbed. But again, these are counterfeit, cheap goods. People buy them all the time. Why? Because no one can afford a Louis Vuitton bag or a Gucci bag or whatever the hell it is for $3,000. All right, people just don't buy those things. So they buy the counterfeit one, and Gucci and Louis Vuitton get pissed off because it's infringing on their business. Well, look at the U.S. equity markets. They're doing the same thing, and no one cares. And the best part, the police, I put it up, that are going to arrest these guys are getting robbed on all their money on Wall Street. That's the best part. So here they are. They should be arresting all the hedge funds like Savvy, Lynn Partners, Yorkville, the Kramers, everybody. Charlie Mayo, they all belong in jail. They're worse than those guys in the street. Lynn Partners, as of today, turned finger motion into a $1 billion crime. 166 million shares at $5 is pretty much $900 million that they've sold. If you think the money doesn't add up, that's a lot of money. Now, they can't get the money until they buy back the stock. And that, again, remember, they have to close out the position. The company's fully funded. They don't need a penny. Now, how do you get out of it? So whether it's today, tomorrow, they have to buy back 166 million shares, plus the 800,000 real shares. We're not letting them get away. Just like GTII, it's 400 plus million shares short. They haven't covered a share yet. You can see the trading every day. They offer it down, a penny here, a penny there. And they'll get tired of doing it because they know they sell more shares and get no money for it. So the race is on. They're trying to cover. We're trying to force settlement. But time is on our side, not their side. All right, so the company, let them gain their footing, both companies, and let's see what happens. We'll put the truck out there again. We'll insult everybody to the high heavens. Remember, putting the truck out there, that's whistleblowing in real time. So if William calls up the SEC today and complains, none of us know he did it. But the truck is for all of us, and we're all whistleblowing at the same time. And if you tell me that the SEC can turn its blind eye on that truck with the names of the criminals, we pointed out their whole roadmap, then you know this whole stock market is completely fraud. All right, there's not much more we can do at that point. And I do believe they're going to act and get these guys. I think the DOJ is going to start arresting these people. The stories are there. They said in the next couple of months. It's right there.
Edward David Tom Xylophone has been halted over a month. EDTX.
Well, let me put it in. EDTX.
Yeah, Edward David Tom X-ray.
Okay. It's one of those SPAC.
It's been halted over a month.
Yeah, it's a SPAC. It was a SPAC.
It's a SPAC. All right.
So there's something that
There's something pending approval, I guess.
I don't know what it is, but there's something there.
How long has the FBI known about the Kramers? And
just go back and look. Listen, if you're on Twitter, just go to Gretchen Morgensen at Gretchen G Morgensen and post her story. She did a great story about the Kramers, about being loan sharks, threatening people. She knows all about them. She knows everything about naked short selling. Ask her any question you want. She knows about it. Go back to that story. That's how long they know about these characters. So if they're still walking around, obviously there's something going on where the Kramers are turning state's evidence and giving up other people, because it doesn't make sense that they're still walking around.
I'm not sure the point of this one, but Chuck Denal says, wow, Ham, another call. And he says it in a negative way. I don't know what he'd rather you do, not have calls.
Who, Chuck?
I don't know.
Tell him, give me his number. I'll call him up at home.
Okay. Yeah. I'll see if I can get his number. I mean, he's a loyal investor as far as
Listen, I can't, I didn't ask you to come on the call. As a matter of fact, you know what? I'll just hang up and you guys can go stare at yourself. What do you want me to tell you?
Oh, don't.
I'm not going to play into a fool like that, I don't duck. I told you that before. I stand here, and that's it. What do you want me to say? It's security fraud. Call the cop. I'll be the first guy to go with you. If you're that upset, get in a bus, whatever you have, your mode of transportation, go to D.C., and we'll meet you there. Come on down. I'll walk you right into the SEC, the FBI, wherever you like to go. Listen, everybody likes to complain. We're all sitting here. We understand it. The stocks are going down. We got it.
Well, I think people need to realize that the overall event in all of these stocks, but particularly GTII and Finger, MMTLP, is the fraudulent sale of billions of shares of stock that do not exist. That keeps happening. You can blame Ham, you can blame me, you can blame the CEO, but the guy who has people listening right now is Gary Gensler. It's his job as regulator to stop the fraudulent sale of non-existent shares. But he won't do it because it's good for Goldman Sachs. Anyway, another guy's asking, it looks like Alpine is on its last legs. Isn't that a good reason to accumulate GTII?
Listen, I told everybody before, I'm not Fidelity Management. I don't have $1 billion in my family to buy all these stocks and keep accumulating. Like you, we make investments when we have the money. You don't have the money, you have to sit and wait. There's nothing I can do. Do I think you should be accumulating? I'm a believer in buying when they don't want them. That's how I am.
Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut
you
off.
No, I'm a buyer when they don't want them and sell them when they do. That's how. So if I was buying NVIDIA on the wipeout, it's going up. That's when I'd be selling it. I don't care if it's going to go to 700, 800. If I bought it at 430, I'm selling it at 460. I'm out. See you later. That's Wall Street.
Well, and that's an important distinction. You're not diamond hands. If the market gives you a profit, you take it.
I'm standing tall here. I'm not running. Okay, but I'm just telling you, there's different ways to approach the stock market, and that's what my background was. I would buy them when they don't want them. These stocks are different. These stocks you get rewarded when the shorts have pressure. All right, that's when you get your money. All right, and I don't know the second they get pressure. I know there's pressure because they push it down. That tells you that they have a problem, right? We all seen that. Finger Motion got to $7 to $8. And what they do, they attacked it down to $4. They didn't attack it down to $4 in a month. They attacked it in days, knocking it down. The stock got to $6. They attacked it, pushed it to $5 the other day, right? Now they're trying to push it down again. Well, let's go back to the report. Benchmark said it's worth $5 minimum. Who's selling it down to $4.40, whatever it is now?
Well, you didn't see that report from Michael Lyon at Michael Dion? That was an excellent research effort.
Oh, I don't know.
It was seeking alpha crap.
That the company doesn't see any way to make money?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was just crap.
Listen, everybody on this call, go on Twitter, and say whatever you like about any stock. Tell them Goldman Sachs' office was just raided by the FBI. You can say whatever you like. It's your opinion. That's what you heard. And go buy puts and you become a banter. You can do whatever you like. The SEC doesn't care. You can do whatever you like. I'm not telling you to do it, but that's what everybody else does. Andrew Left used to go out. Everybody. Etsy's selling counterfeit T-shirts. Put them out of business. That whole business is worthless because there's a fake T-shirt in there. And I'm sure management of that company approved of selling the counterfeit T-shirt that a vendor's selling, not even them. You don't think there's any fake goods at eBay? Right? You don't think eBay has any fake goods? Go out there, you can tell that story all day long. eBay selling counterfeit goods, sell it short. It's going to get sued. That's all you have to say. Go on there. The rumor is, that's all you have to say. Knock yourself out. Become a basher. Hurt people, hurt the company over stupid words.
According to one person, Finger seems like MULN. Retail is the one that has to lift the price of the stock, nobody else. What do you think to that?
I don't know what that means.
He means it doesn't seem like there's any other way for the stock to go up except if we all buy. I think he's wrong because I don't think Finger went up because of us, but that's just me.
No, there's no way Finger went up. Listen, retail people, we only have limited funds, okay? There's people here with real money buying it. Okay, it's not me, but there's real people buying it. And the real people buy it on their terms. It's unfortunate, but that's how it goes.
Okay, which stock do you think is going to go first and or going to go higher? A, S, R, E, or FNGR?
I don't know the other stock. I don't have my iPad with me, so I couldn't even tell you. I don't know the stock. Listen, Finger Motion looks ready to go. It has been. It looks, the accumulation is here. The up and down, remember, Finger Motion is a option that doesn't expire. There's no option. It doesn't. The stock doesn't expire. It goes up. NVIDIA went down to 403 the other day, and today it's 460. I mean, that's the stock market. How many people bailed out when it went down to 403? I'm sure a lot of people did. Now it turns around and it's up. Up, down, sideways. That's what it, if you don't believe what you see or the news that's in front of you, it's tough to hold on to it. You can't second guess yourself all day long. It'll drive you nuts. And that's what the short's trying to do.
So I would think your answer would be between ASRE and Finger. You believe Finger is going to go first.
ASRE is that Kramer stock, right?
Yeah, it's another piece of crap. The Kramer.
Again, I don't know the companies. Again, they had to know the Kramers got paid off. They're short. Now it's up to the shareholders of that company and management. They got them. Finish them off. That's not up to me. I
thought the Kramers signed several cease and desists to never do this again with the SEC. But I guess, hey, They're so important.
when you-
we'll
when you
we'll
have-
keep them going.
When you have unlimited liability corporations, LLCs, I posted them all again. You can look at Alpine's, collection of LLCs. The only reason they have all these LLCs is to conceal fraud. All right, they got all these. They're playing a shell game with the LLCs, and if you look at it, the Kramers have the same pattern. You think someone taught the Kramers? Someone from Alpine taught the Kramers? It's the same pattern. Look at all the LLCs. This is the same game. Show me something different. Can you imagine how many LLCs Lynn has?
Yeah.
They all do the same thing. How many LLCs do you have? Take a survey from the people that you speak to, William. Does everyone have like 10 to 15 LLCs?
I think people, when they get in these stocks, they have to understand why the opportunity's there, but also it's like yin and yang. There's the good and the bad. It's also the bad is that the reason the opportunity's there, the shorts are selling stock that doesn't exist. Gensler does nothing. And the bad is the shorts are selling and Gensler does nothing. But everyone wants the stock price to go up, and then they want to blame other people. The pattern, as you call it, is always baked in stone. It will change. And when it changes, it'll take 2 days. The waiting takes months. So you're focused on the waiting. You can get out anytime. I'm not recommending anyone hold any stock they don't want to hold. So it's all up to you.
You are correct. You can get in and out anytime you like. We don't control any of it. If the sell tickets lead back to me, please tell me where the money is, because I don't know where it is. All right? If you know where it is, I'll be glad to take it if you want me to be part of it.
This person who is a longtime listener says, and I won't say his name because I didn't write it down. I don't want to make a mistake. He says, after the options failed, Ham is now singing a different tune. I only share that in case you want to comment.
That's not true. I just told my friend to go out there and buy calls. So I'm not telling it to uneducated retail because I can't trade for everybody. But my close friends ask me questions all the time. So my tune has never changed. Okay? I just can't educate you on options all day long. I just can't do it. Everyone's got a different buy price, sell price. I don't know your value, how much money you have. People that I know who are risk adverse, I can teach them how to do it. All right? That's what I do. All right? I'm not going to sit here and educate someone who doesn't have an idea of what's going on. And you know what? Shame on me for trying, and shame on for the investors that having no idea. You know what? That is manipulation that I don't control it. I have no control over this all day long. If you don't like what we're saying, what can I say? We've been saying the same thing for 3 years. And both stocks have exploded, pulled back, gone up. There's been opportunities for everybody to make money. I wanted to go to the moon more than anybody. Trust me. More than you ever can believe. I want this to work.
With the approach that you described with a big buyer, a professional buyer that sort of pulls back and does a bear trap, well, with that approach, the stock will never squeeze because they'll never run it up. This is a question.
No, I got it. Listen, that's the complete opposite of what you're saying. When they're buying the stock like that, what are they buying it for?
Right.
You don't think they have the power to make it happen? They don't do it on our terms. Trust me. I would like nothing more than a big buy to come in and jam into $20 today, so I don't have to do this anymore. Trust me. I want to be gone worse than you. I've been doing this 23 years. I stopped what I'm doing here with my family to make a call to help educate people on this. If you don't want to listen or you don't want me to do it anymore, just say, get lost. I'll be the first guy to disappear. No big deal. You don't have to listen to me. I could care less. But I'm not letting these guys get away. You can say what you want. I'm not letting them get away.
I'm not sure if this is a question trying to trip me up or if it's really an interesting question. Will Finger and AMC have some kind of an arbitrage? That may be just a stupid question, but I'm asking it because somebody put it up. I can't think why they would do a spread between the two stocks. So,
listen, Finger Motion has unlimited liability. Okay, it has a very small float. It's all owned and put away. I told you before, it has the same look as Volkswagen to me. GameStop had a different look. GameStop, I reported the short was 270% of the float. All right, I didn't know how powerful the move was going to be, but I knew it was going to be big. All right, you all learned a lesson how powerful they are when Wall Street gets behind it on one side. So when the gate opens up and the inmates start running the asylum, that'll be us. I'm sure that you're going to see what I think how high it's going to go is going to be enormous. That's what I believe.
Why don't the DTCC, FINRA, SEC, Department of Justice all work together?
I believe these people are all good people. Okay? I'm not here to throw the SEC under the bus. I think that they have a lot of pressure probably from very big people that are caught here, whoever it may be. I think they're trying to figure a way out to slow this down and to end it. But they have to show, there's got to be a sign, because we can't have Lynn partners keep manipulating the stock. We can't have the Kramers still walking around. The courts are filled with people suing unregistered toxic lenders. This is Wall Street. Everybody's suing each other for fraud. Think about that. There's no investing anymore. It's a total crapshoot. And again, the big stocks, you can buy them, sell them, do what you want with those names. I wouldn't own them. If you gave me the money, I wouldn't invest in these things. Because there's no way, and I'm not afraid. There's no way watching the video fall from 460 to 403, okay, that if I bought it, then I'm going to hold on for another ride back up to 460. Take it easy. I'll see you later. I'm taking whatever I can and I'm gone. Because how can you believe in a system when the volatility is so huge? How can anybody can survive that? Everybody faints at that volatility. And that's what the shorts try to create.
No one tells these guys to close. So do you think what's going to make them close their position is margin calls, buy-ins?
That's the only way we know how to do it, is to force the issue. Now, if the regulators or the SEC and everybody else wants to step in and do their job, then our work is a lot easier. I told you, accumulation is how you kill them. Accumulation doesn't make everybody on this phone happy. It doesn't make me happy. You think I want to sit here? I want to sell my stock. See you later. Good luck. Go into the sunset. That's what I want to do. I don't need to do this anymore. I'm sick of doing it. But fuck you, shorts. I'm not going away until you're done. So if any of these people are short sellers trying to get the people to give up, you can make people give up, but not the people I know. We're not giving up because we know we got these guys trapped. Now, we may win, we may lose, but we're not going away. And we will get them, do everything in our power to have them locked up. So if you want to be positive about this, go on Twitter and post up what you want me to say on the truck. Maybe we'll get you on the truck. Let's give it a college try. Let's see what you have to say. We don't need negative stuff. We need people that want to think positive. You don't have to buy the stock. Sell it, move along. I could care less. Protect your family. That's the most important thing. But if you have any good ideas to throw somebody under the bus, put it on the truck, tell us what you want us to say and tell us where you want the truck. Give me an idea.
Every call this comes up. It looks like DBMM is being accumulated. Do you have thoughts
I
on?
still don't understand who would be on the offer side of a stock that is 00, whatever number it is. I don't that's not my field. I don't understand it. I wouldn't waste my time a day and that type of thing. But that's me. I never played a penny stock.
Are you still in touch with Tom Ronk, and what about his $5.27?
Yes, he was out the last couple of days. So if everybody wants to know, it's the last week in August, or the next to last week. Most people take vacations. So there's a lot of people not around. So again, I can't chase people down to say, hurry up, give me the data, I need it. As soon as I get it, I will have it out.
Since companies have a fiduciary responsibility to the shareholders, can't we just ask them for a share count?
That is correct. You can't have a share count if the brokerage firms don't tell you what they own.
And we tried to do that with GTII.
They won't tell you what they own. They won't tell you what they own. Shareholders do not unite together. And you say, what does that mean? If I told everybody to get every shareholder around the globe and send in your statement as proof of ownership, you'll get 35 to 40% of the people doing it. That's why it's very difficult for a company to force the shareholders to do things like that. You have to do a corporate action and get the brokerage firms to give you that information. E-Trade, Ameritrade. Remember, I drew the circle. DTC has the complete company, has all the shares from the company. Let's say it's 30 million shares. You pour a circle, DTC has 30 million shares. Now you need to know what all the brokerage firms need to own. For example, what does Merrill Lynch own? What does Goldman own? Jefferies own? JP Morgan. They have to report to the company how many shares they have, each one of those firms. If there's 30 million real shares and all these companies own 10 million shares, it could be 90 million owned by the brokerage firms and there's only 30 million real shares. That means there's 60 million naked shares. The brokerage firms will never show us their numbers. They do everything. They lie, they cheat to protect the system. We can't get that information. That is Wall Street. That's what you're investing in. It's completely fraudulent. I told you 1,000 times.
Has the big buyer in Finger been scared away because the stock price is down?
The stock price is down is the best news they could probably get.
So they're still there, in your opinion?
Mm-hmm.
That was the second half of his question. Okay. What is a life-changing price, in your opinion, in Finger? Is it $20? Is it higher?
Oh, listen, whatever changes your life, it'll be that number when it goes. I want to be like the Kramers. I want to get a house out in Long Island, put it under my father's name, hide it from the regulators, and have a good life, and then take pictures of my kids and tell everybody to go fuck themselves. That's what I want to do.
Would
That's
a forward split cause the shorts to have to put up more capital?
Yes, forward splits are damaging, very damaging, because they have all of a sudden, if they're short 50 million, now they're going to be short 100 million shares. Increases the margin. Yes, it does. But I'm not the CEO of a company, so it's hard for me to tell you. Finger Motion would be a good candidate for it because they have a small float.
And a big
But
debt.
you got to remember, they're changing the structure of their company to try to force the issue. If it was me, it would be done already, but it's not me.
Do you think the shorts are aware that the federal fiscal year ends in October? Are they planning on just riding it out till the market crashes?
No, I think that if you were the short, you would continue doing whatever games you're playing, okay, until someone comes with the hook and pulls you off the stage, right? That's what they're doing. So are they digging a bigger hole? Yes. Are they doing it from the U.S.? No. I told you that before. I think they're doing it from a bunker someplace in Europe. They're hiding whoever's doing it. Because you have to have some pair of balls to be standing out here still doing it with all the stuff that's going on. And you saw the articles from the one with the big poisonous frog or the toad, whatever it is. It talks about $27 trillion worth of fails overseas. So that's where it's coming from.
Meanwhile, on the SEC website, you can learn about investing for retirement.
They're going to tell you get another job. You'll be working at Home Depot. You're working at Lowe's. Come on in. Listen, everybody I know has taken beatings in real names. And you say, how could that be possible? You know, I know someone who lost $40,000 in Home Depot calls a couple of days before expiration. They put out a negative story and drove the stock down like $20. I mean, it happens all the time, all over the place. And we can't stop this type of stuff. The DOJ is going after Andrew Left and Carson Black because that's what they do in Hindenburg. They throw these cannonballs out there and just say, hey, it's fraud. No matter what they do, TIO is a fraud. You know, just to go over that again, I think it's TIO. The company was called by Wainwright to do a secondary. And Wainwright had everybody short the stock, anticipating the company would take the money. The company said no. The stock started to squeeze up. I can't remember if it was $3 or $4. And the shorts were dead because the company refused it, and they hired Wes Christian to go after them for it. And then they came out with Hindenburg, and Hindenburg was a hired gun. And Hindenburg came out and said the company's, nonsense, the whole attack, trying to take the wind out of it. They drove it back down. That is a fact, what they did. So out of all the stocks on the board, Hindenburg went from going after Carl Icahn. The next thing they did was go after TIO. Isn't that strange? A company that had a big problem, someone reached out to Hindenburg, and that was their next attack.
Will the dividend in November make GTII squeeze?
Dividends create problems.
Is it 40 million dividends? 40 million
the dividends, the brokerage firms owe you a dividend. If the brokerage firm is short your stock, it doesn't have a share to match it, the brokerage firm will commit fraud by putting a journal entry in your account. That's it on a nutshell. Does the brokerage firm that represents your position, will they commit security fraud by journal entering or creating a share of a public company without the company's knowledge? That's what they do. Can you imagine that? E-Trade is going to give you a share of stock that they don't own, that they made up, and put a journal entry in your account. That's it. And when you sell it, you get the money, and they don't care. They deliver nothing. And that's how it just goes into the system. That's how crooked the system is.
I don't know.
Hey, listen, it is what it is. It's a slow day. It's the end of the summer. People aren't around. You know, I believe me, it burns me up that I got to watch the stock down 60 cents. I got it. But we're not going away. You know, and just the fight continues. That's the way it goes. I've been doing it 23 years. If you think I quit before, I'm still here, right?
Look, Joe Biden's been president for 3 years. Anyway, 300,000 a day is the volume on Finger. What volume would be needed to make it run?
You listen, one day 300,000 can have it up 10 points. Go look at HKD. That's how it happened.
So you're saying Lind can't take their money out unless they pay up or they cover their position?
You can't, if you short a stock, they don't give you the money. unless you buy it back. You got to close the position out.
Right.
That's it. So they're short, and they can't, and they're not covering. They're trying to press it to get people to sell. That's all they're doing. And I told you before, why would you mark it down if you thought you can win? They can't win. That's why they're marking it down.
But we all judge it every day if it's down.
Based on price. That's all we judge it on.
That's the only thing we judge it by.
Right?
Which is,
That's
you
it.
know, if Warren Buffett did that, he never would have the best success in the world as an investor. If stock prices reflected everything, how do you make any money?
Again, Warren Buffett has created this cult where people buy and follow him no matter what he does. All right? Not every stock has gone to the moon. He buys certain stocks and he just does what he does.
Do you think the news this morning on GTII was a good thing?
Yes. But it wasn't a negative.
What are the
All right, the
negatives?
company just acquired a company and has assets, and they're going to start driving revenue. Hurry up, let me sell it. That's a bad thing.
Well,
Listen, I'm sorry some people feel...
I don't have any other
Cam
questions.
had another call today. Well, you do me yourself a favor. Don't call in again. Because nothing's going to change. I'm not here. I'm not your doctor. I'm not your therapist. I'm not your wife. I'm not your husband, whatever. I'm here reporting on security fraud, teaching you how they rob. I can't, put another lock on your door. There's nothing I can do. Call the police. Call the SEC. Call somebody. But don't take it out on us. We're trying to tell you what they're doing. And it's been exactly on the nose what they're doing.
Yeah.
Go ask the MMTLP people how they feel. They've all been locked up for a year already over here. This is basically robbed by your government, the SEC, and FINRA. Those are the regulators here to protect you. And in broad daylight, they're protecting the crooks. We're fighting to go around this and get them all thrown under the bus. That's what we're doing. So don't shoot the messengers. We're here giving you our time. If you don't appreciate it, don't call in. I could care less. I don't care if I'm talking to one person. If I can help you out and understand it and protect you and your family, I have no problem doing it. That's what this is about. I'm not here to help move a stock up so that you can make 50 cents or $1 and go home and make some money. Go someplace else to do that. Go to a trading group and see how they help you out. Good luck.
Well, you're getting a lot of thank yous and positive feedback.
Listen, I know people appreciate it. You always get the jerks that are standing here who want to flip it to make 25 cents, and they demand me to move the stock up so they can make their half $1 today or 50 cents or whatever, a quarter, and go home. There's plenty of people like that, and I'm not for that. You want to day trade? I told you go someplace else 1,000 times. I told you to do that. Go trade Tesla. You want volatility? You want action? Go over there. That's the action. This is an accumulation game. When the stock, if you bought it at 4 and it runs to 7 and you want to sell it, you do whatever you like. No one stops you. I tried to teach you that options are a better place to play because you get leverage and you use less money. The options for September and August, August, the ones before that, July, they both July went up tenfold, whatever they went up first. Then the stock got pushed down. They robbed everybody. And last month, the options didn't get a chance. If you look at it, you could have bought those 2 options and got the third one for free because you could have flipped them and traded them. And I told everybody that's the way to do it. When it first ran from 2 to 7. If you flip them, you get them for free. You're able to play the next month for free. That's option trading. I told you, don't stand like the Statue of Liberty. And look at the stock. If it's not working, the premiums come down in the calls, correct? The options are getting cheaper for whatever month it is, September coming up.
Yeah.
Right? Calls that were $1 are now 50 cents. This is the first day of the option period, the first day, and they're already cut in half.
Do you
That's why That's why I play the front month options. Good.
Do you have any? Is there any explanation for the wide spread, like that senator from Arizona, when the stock's going up, but when it's going down, there's not much of a spread between the bid and the ask, which I actually take as a bullish sign.
Well, they moved the spread down. If you look at it, let's say the stock is 440 to 442 or 441. There's always 100 shares. They close it, the spread down.
Right.
Because they want you to hit the 440 bid.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden they sell 100 shares at 440. Now it's 438 to 440. All of a sudden someone offers 100 at 439. It's the same pattern. All they're doing is walking it down. And when a buyer steps in, when they see the buyer, the stock turns, all of a sudden it spreads out. Because they don't want to sell it to you.
Right. They don't want to sell it to
Lower.
a real buyer because they
don't want to sell it to everybody. So they're just manipulating the price.
They're just crossing otherwise. Yeah.
So they want everybody to look and say, "Oh my God, my account's down $35,000 today. What happened?" You know.
I should have listened to Charlie Mayo, not to Ham.
Right, Charlie Mayo.
I mean, the one problem is we're not allowed to sell stock that doesn't exist. We could all be making money if we could do what Charlie Mayo does.
Someone teach me how to navigate the offshore banking. Charlie Mayo, Seth Kramer, Lynn Partners, teach me. I'll be your best asset. I'll fucking destroy stocks. I would love nothing more to steal all day long, make myself $50,000 a day, and go have a party every night. I'll be the best guy to hang out with, and you wouldn't believe the parties we would have spending that kind of money every day. Because you come back the next day and destroy another company and some other shareholders. You just keep moving around. I'll be like the plague. It's easy. Just teach me how to do it. I'll do it in a second. And unless they start throwing people in jail, once they throw one in jail, look at Shabby. He paid a $2 million fine. He has a $10 million apartment on Fisher Island. I'll sell you my kidney to have that life. What, are you kidding me? Fisher Island, a private community, for $10 million? How much money did that guy steal?
And he's 23 years old.
And he's sitting here, and the DOJ, he's not going to, all the DOJ says, okay, what do you do for a living? Let's see how you make money. You know, whatever money he bought the condo with was bought with stolen money. Just like the Kramers, that's why he's hiding the house under his father's name. They're hiding their assets. Why is Alpine fighting legal battles they can't win? Because they're hiding assets. They're moving things along. It's not easy when you steal $1 billion to hide it. They think the federal government's not going to find it, but they always do.
Yeah. Well, run out of questions, and
Well, listen, have a great day.
It's the dog days of August. That's all.
That's all it is. All right, everyone.
All
Have
right.
a great day.
Talk to you
And for
later.
those who
Thank you
knock
very
it
much.
back,
All right. All right, 314. 314. It is discouraging how they destroy. I found my glasses. I've got that going for me. Cheer up, Arthur. People work here. Later on, we'll get ice cream. I'm not uncheered. I'm just, I don't know. Do you guys get bored? Same thing over and over and over and over again. What I find hard to understand is we know the facts. I mean, I wish I could treat other aspects of my life as clearly as you can here. But you know the Kramers and Alpine and all their racketeering buddies are selling stock that doesn't exist. You know the SEC might be listening here and they don't care about the criminality, the sale of non-existent shares. They just don't care about that. If the stock price went up, if the CEO said, I think my stock's going up, and it went up $5, they'd send him a letter, or her a letter. But if the Kramers sell 100 million shares, driving a stock price down to oblivion, the SEC doesn't care. Why? Because it makes money for Goldman Sachs. And you remember my rule of Wall Street and my rule of criminals. If Goldman Sachs does it, it is not illegal. Simple as that. And if we have to buy judges, buy politicians, buy regulators, we will. But you better be sure if it makes money for Goldman Sachs, it's not illegal. And then finger at 437. It's pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. Thank you, Burn Tom. Go relax. Relax, everyone. Relax, everyone. All right. So it's 3:18. Did I tell you that Novak Djokovic won yesterday? Amazingly. I don't know if he talked to Hester Pierce. She's in Texas. I don't think it's Gensler. I use his name because it's for the clarity. But he'll never be remembered. He won't be remembered any more than Cox is remembered. Gary Gensler chose to do nothing with his assignment to the SEC. So when history comes and goes like the sands of time, no one will remember Gary Gensler. Had he stood up and made a difference, he might have gone down in history with George Patton or Rosa Parks. Your father-in-law is a Djokovic fan? You must have a nice wife. The Joker is amazing, but nobody likes him. That's what's incredible. When you listen, everyone's cheering for the other guy. It's enough to drive you crazy. It's enough to drive you crazy. What if keeping GTI down is saving Goldman's money? Could be. I think Alpine is fighting. That guy Hurry, he's got a brain the size of half a hollowed out pea. He's just an arrogant punk. But he's the one probably leading the charge to fight the Alpine cause. But I bet he's backed up by somebody. And it may be they're just moving trades around, repositioning. They're just picking which clients are going to get stuffed with the losses. It's all illegal. But what's worse, they don't do anything about it at the SEC. That's really bad. Oh, they hate that he wouldn't take the jab. And he paid a lot for it. He would have won, I think. I think he would have won another 6 to 10 tournaments, and but there was one tennis player that got ill, but they're amazingly healthy, and so I guess. But I think he needs to be careful if he leaves the country. Apparently, all the shutdown is coming back in September because, well, I'll let you fill in the blanks. I'll let you fill in the blanks. Still alive with no chance of side effects. Well, I don't know. No other tennis players are dying. I found out if you kiss someone, you can get the so-called inoculation. He stood by his convictions, and he's a good man. He's actually a really good man. And I've heard some things about Nadal that make me. But I like Nadal and I like Federer. But it must be a highly competitive sport, and people do things that they wouldn't otherwise be proud of. Yeah, well, there's 3 pilots died recently, and did you see the variant 1D10T or something like that, if you spell it out? Well, I think is NBH really trading at 2K? Was it really trading at 2K? I never heard that. As far as I know, it doesn't trade. You're telling me to go pound sand because I'm a tool? Well, I don't have any sand. And if I'm a tool, I wonder what project is going to get finished. I haven't heard that it was trading at 2,000. NBH, next bridge. I haven't heard it was trading at 2,000. I haven't heard that. It's not out of the realm of possibility. You would have a. They have 250 million shares outstanding times, what did you say, 2,000? So that would be $500 billion. And if you divided that by let's say 5 billion. That'd be high. That'd be very high. That'd be $100 a barrel based on what we know what I think I know they have from a few months ago. Maybe they found more, but that would be a lot. Isn't that great? Leprosy and dengue fever. It's great. That's the one thing that I, regardless of rights and wrongs and fairness, human charity, but when you let, like Trump has done, let 7 million people in with no border, no front door. Just come in 7 million people, no tests for health, nothing. To me, that's scary. But, I don't think we had several of these diseases in North America. I really don't think Nextbridge sold at $2,000 a share. I think right now it might be worth conservatively, 10 or 15% of that number. But in a settlement, I think a settlement could be over 1,000 a share. Oh, I see. If Finger had a phone number. Well, Finger does have a phone number. It's 1-800-UP-YOURS. Hey. Foof. Poor guy. You don't really see me anymore, do you? No. I know you're not. I misunderstood. I'm always ready to take back what I say because it's so easy to misunderstand these little things. But on the other hand, I hate it when someone's a bully. But yeah, I don't think you said I should pound sand. I mean, I thought it when I said it, but I don't think it now. I might just go 2 more minutes because it's such good. But he's a good boy. How come we have never heard from the GTII CEO? Maybe he doesn't exist. Maybe he's a phantom. Maybe it's all a sham. I think you have heard from the GTII CEO. You've seen him buy shares in the open market, which locks up his entire share position for a year. You've seen him do that several times. You've seen his signature and you've seen his filing. You've seen his comments in news releases, like to this morning's. I didn't read it, but I'm sure it's there. So I think you are hearing from the CEO of GTII. From a tape that is on Twitter, that Charlie Mayo called up Reiki and said, "Hey, Reiki, I had a talk with the guys. We're ready to give you money for shares to cover our shorts." I'm paraphrasing. Reiki didn't do it. Reiki's been asked at least 3 times. I don't know about how recently, but about 2 months ago, where he turned down receiving money for the 19 million shares reportedly short out of Switzerland. He said 2 words, N-O. And he did it 3 times that I have pretty good information on. You know that Reiki is not doing any kind of further financing like with the Lynn Partners. You know that Reiki has done several, a dozen different items to try to work on your side. So I think you do hear from the CEO of GTII. Why, you think it'd be better if you heard his voice on the phone so a couple of people could ask him questions and then you go, well, how come he didn't answer that? I don't think. Every CEO has a different style. He's not a promoter. the way some of these CEOs come out like drum majors. I'm the one leading the fight against the short. It's my $2 billion fight. My. Or other CEOs that come out and convince people that by switching a CUSIP number, the stock's going to squeeze, and tell them that we're never going to do a deal with the shorts, but as soon as the stock is up, he does a deal with the shorts. So no, I think you're hearing from the CEO of GTII loud and clear, and I think actions speak much more clearly than a bunch of words. Do you think GTI and Finger have the power to do what Popcorn did to AMC? No, it's look, Popcorn number one had huge billion-dollar debts that if he walked away from, it was going to cost banks a lot of money. So the banks worked with Popcorn, and then they had a lot of shareholders. I'm talking about institutional shareholders. They worked with him. And then you had all these huge short positions that got caught out, and those criminals worked with Popcorn. It's all a big circle jerk, and you haven't been asked to join the sleazy part of it. It's just no is the answer. Finger is not going to do what AAA did. GTII is not going to do what AAA did. You're done with life. Well, I'm sorry about that, Locomotion Mind. We all feel that way. I certainly feel that way sometimes. But before you're finished with it, I would go outside and take a quick look at the blue sky and listen to some birds, watch a dog play in the neighbor's yard, and look at the green grass. Maybe let your imagination wander about the smells coming through the wind in the air. Because who knows, when you finish life, you may not be able to experience those things again. Most of space is a void, and it's cold, and it's full of radiation. So who knows what comes afterward. What do you know about BRICS? I guess something is happening tomorrow. It's going to hurt the dollar. Steve Petchke, I think the current Trump administration has done more to damage the dollar than anything since perhaps the Revolutionary War. What the BRICS are doing is not going to hurt the dollar. What the BRICS are doing is a consequence of telling countries like Russia, Iran, others, Libya, that unless you do what the United States wants, and we're woke over here, so unless you do what our modern women want, you will not have access to the SWIFT dollar system. Therefore, you can't wire your money around the world instantly, and you're going to be banned from buying oil and other key commodities. So what countries around the world who don't necessarily believe in our social woke agenda and might be run by strong men or whatever. China doesn't care about that. Russia cares. Russia banned fans only. But anyway, these countries go a different way. It's not so much that they're trying to hurt the dollar. They've been excluded from the dollar-based system by the current Trump administration. And we'll see how that geniusness works out. But what happens tomorrow is not in and of itself going to damage the dollar. The fact that the current Trump administration is forgiving $1/3 of $1 trillion or something like that in student debt for gender studies and art history, that might be hurting it. It's hard to believe the current Trump administration is pouring trillions of dollars into cities around the country which haven't seemed to learn their lesson. We need to build up our infrastructure. We need to bring jobs back and bring industry back so we can pay our debt. But anyway, I don't think what the BRICS are doing is going to be dramatic at all in the short run. I got a strike on my YouTube channel because I mistakenly talked about the I don't know how to say it. Anyway, I just don't want to say the wrong thing. I don't know. No, I don't know that the GNS dividend on upstream is going to work. It's something that should work. It should work. But GNS did a deal look, I don't know enough about it, but GNS did a deal with the shorts, and I don't know enough, but it affected the amount of shares outstanding. You can put all your dividends on upstream, but upstream is an experiment, and it should work, yes, but we don't know for sure it will. But if you've got too many shares in your denominator, it doesn't really matter what you're doing. Look, I'm not going to explain myself because I don't want, what's my upside? I think in answer to the question, this decline in the dollar has been going on for a while, but the dollar is as I said the other day, to quote Chris Christopherson, it's the cleanest dirty shirt. There isn't another currency that can replace the dollar. And when the BRICS come together, where's their government going to be? El Salvador? Tehran? New Delhi? Who's going to be their central bank? Who's going to issue the bonds on behalf of the BRICS? And when the Saudis take a bunch of BRIC money in, where are they going to invest it? In Brazil? Maybe they need farmland. I don't know. I just don't think it's going to be a sudden thing. And I think Jim Willey is probably more accurate than anybody. The dollar's probably going to go up at some point and then out. and then it's gone. It doesn't exist, and it might be replaced by a domestic dollar versus an international dollar. It might be replaced by special drawing rights. Everyone's talking about it's going to be replaced by a central bank coin. I don't know. I don't know. But what will damage the dollar more than anything else is if big banks collapse, both on the what used to be the commercial side and on the investment banking side, just from the fraud that we're trying to fight. Can I discuss Bidenomics? Well, I'm not sure what Bidenomics is. I think it's I don't know much about Bidenomics. Thank you, Rick Lardson. All right, so is that right? The Treasury is planning to change the dollar bill by October? Wow. Again? I guess that's because of counterfeiting. Well, at least the counterfeiters of shares in the American markets will get real American $100 bills to spend their proceeds. I won't be able to take you on a walk on DC with Lucky. You know, he used to be the fastest dog in the dog park. We used to be able to walk for miles, and now I just can't do it. It's just too sad. But, I mean, I can take you on a 1-block walk, or we can go through the hardware store. Start singing. I don't have a song in my heart. Look, I was just, I don't want to go into any of it. We're here. I believe YouTube is a public airwave and a public square, but apparently it is not. It is a place where one must conform to what is obviously true, whether it's the science or the politics or the other evidences in the world. And be darn well glad you did. Well, that's an interesting point that it's there on the 50-day moving average. That is an interesting point. Very interesting point. It's hot in here. He's sleeping. All right. I keep saying that. Screw it. I know you're more intelligent than that. TZET factory. If I say something about negative about Joe Biden, I'm going to get a strike. That's why, and obviously, you don't want to speak out against the most popular president in the United States history with 81 million votes. Citadel does need to be investigated. All right. I guess we'll go to 4 o'clock. And I do feel, Skinny Whale, when I was in the Soviet Union, I've never been to Russia, but I've been to the Soviet Union 3 different times. And I remember outside the embassy, we Americans would put up our newspapers. We had these, and that's what the Russians did too, because normal Russians couldn't necessarily afford to buy Izvestia or Pravda, and they would have the newspapers posted around Moscow. Well, on our embassy, we would post the Washington Post, New York Times, maybe just Reuters or UPI, maybe just a printout. I don't remember, but we would have it there, and the daring Russian citizen would come and read it, but it would be in English. So I don't know how they. Maybe it was in Russian. I can't remember, but I think it was in English. But they'd be watched, so I don't know why they would take that risk. But Pravda and Izvestia were propaganda, and we had radio. What was it called? Radio Free Europe, Radio Free America. Anyway, the United States would beam news and facts into the Soviet Union, and but it was something. Now, you're right. It feels like everything's turned on its head. Back then, there were aging, senile Soviet presidents and denial of reality. And it just all seems flip-flopped. Voice of America, that was it. Voice of America. Wow, it's hot here. I feel hot. If they haven't figured out, no need to be in GTII or Finger. Melania is a man. She's just a man. And I've had so many men before. In all so many ways. He's just once more. Yeah, it's just, Herman, I'm starting to think, my ideas are starting to scare me about what's really going on. And it's tough. It's tough. Yeah, your dad used to listen. I remember back then we could, with radios, my father had a Sony. And I don't remember what he had first, but ultimately it was this Sony radio that he could tune in to American news. And he'd listen while he was shaving, before he went to the embassy, or I don't think we could listen while we were driving. Moscow is a great city. It's a great city. I bet it's all changed, but it was a great city for someone young. Rumble. All right, I don't know how to do Rumble. Maybe that's what I need to do. Iraqi dinner. Well, I invested in Chinese dinners. Oh, dinars. I see, dinars. Dinars. Ah. The dinar. All right. I don't have a lot. Oh, somebody did ask a question I wanted to comment about. What was it? What was it about? It wasn't logic. It was, WHDI. WHDI. Um, anyway, WHDI, I don't know anything about it, but that's the distribution from this is a news release from 2 years ago, 3 years ago, on Worldwide Diversified Holdings. I printed this one out because the assets were 54 million, which is roughly the number they used when they made the distribution, which actually, when they made the distribution, they used the term something like investment value. It wasn't clear if they're using acquisition cost or what the assets were worth by some sort of metric. But anyway, it's $3.50 a share if you receive those shares. And as far as I know, they're restricted until later this year. And as far as I'm concerned, they should keep it restricted as long as necessary to make sure there isn't a lot of selling in the stock. I don't like that people make fun of Christie because it's mean. I don't like that. Was William R. Farrand my grandfather? Luke. I mean, it's possible. I don't know who that is, William R. Farrand. But no is the answer. How is it possible MMAT can't get a copy of the paperwork that was submitted to get their dividend trading? I'm not sure that's true. I'm not sure that's true. But if you're saying it, it must be true. It was not submitted for trading by MMAT. All you need is a guy or a woman in Germany to sell one share to somebody in the United States. I'm not exactly sure the mechanics of it. They get approval, and I guess before or after. And I don't think that the trading, I know that the trading of MMTLP was not effected by MMAT. So probably they don't have a right to the material, technically, because they weren't the ones that applied for it. It was probably, Citadel did, or whomever. But I do think it only makes sense through the legal process that they will eventually get that information. Farron was born in Detroit, Michigan, September 9. And Jacob Shaw Farron. Well, it's interesting. When I was younger, I went skiing with my girlfriend. And her first name was Beverly. And her middle initial, I'm trying to remember if it was the middle initial or last name. I think it was last name. Anyway, it doesn't matter, whatever the initial was. But I went to collect her skis and return her skis and my skis and collect our stuff. And the woman gave me, Beverly, a Farron's license and purse and everything. I look and I said, wait a minute, Beverly, this isn't my, who's this? And it was a woman, lovely, who actually lived in D.C. or Maryland. And when we got back here, I met her for dinner or drinks as a friend, not anything else. But she was from Detroit, and she happened to be Jewish. She which we're not, but her name came, and I'm vaguely wondering if she was adopted. But anyway, her father took the name Farron from a street sign. There's 2 streets in Michigan named Farron. And I think there's a graveyard and a couple of other things. And anyway, I guess Farrons were pretty impotent up in Detroit, Michigan at one point. How come they don't know how many MMTLP shares there are right now? I think they do. But, I guess when you're not on Wall Street, and there's a lot of people on Wall Street, so it's not a big deal. But if if there's, let's say there's 1 billion shares of MMTLP and there's 165 million, let's say there's 1,165,000,000 shares of MMTLP in the system, but there's only 165 million NextBridge. That leaves 1 billion shares stuffed in 105 broker dealers. Odds are that criminality primarily went on through 1 or 2 prime brokers and got stuffed into accounts where these hedge funds or these pipes out of Germany and Canada came into the United States. It's possible that as a result of buying by retail, that TD Ameritrade has exposure to 250 million shares that don't exist. And Merrill Lynch has 300 million that don't exist. And Wells Fargo has 600 million that don't exist. Now, can you think of a reason why those 3 firms wouldn't want that information to get out? I mean, can you think of one? Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, if Wall Street found out that Wells Fargo had to deliver 600 million shares of MMTLP because they never did the follow-up on settlement, and Wells Fargo is in trouble on their banking side anyway, where's Wells Fargo going to come up with the money to go buy 600 million shares of M? Oh, so you're saying you think Wall Street would short the crap out of Wells Fargo, and then the system would have to rescue Wells Fargo? Is that what you're thinking? If the news got out that Wells Fargo was massively exposed to counterfeit shares in MMTLP, you think that might bring down Wells Fargo and the system? And what if it's also TD Ameritrade and Merrill Lynch? Why don't we just blow those up so you can get a count? You're not, I don't think people think. Obviously, they know, by now they must know how many shares were counterfeit because they have the computers. But they're not telling you because they don't want to implode the system. Is it morally right? I don't know. Is it morally wrong? I don't know. Now, then that gets away from that question. Then why don't they just give us the macro number of how many shares are counterfeited and need to be covered? Well, I would guess most Wall Street players would figure out that every single bank that does business of this kind with Citadel and SAC is going to be in trouble. It could bring Goldman down. It could bring Wells down. It could bring Bank of America prime brokerage down. Why would this system take that risk? Just so you could know? Why do you need to know? You don't believe it? I don't need to know. You don't need to know. We don't need to know the exact number. We know it's massive. But does it have to be defined to us so each of us can do our calculation? I'm not positive. It's above my pay grade. But I can understand why they don't release that information. It would destroy Wall Street. Now, on a positive note, I think that it's quite possible that they're issuing these shares somebody on here, two people actually, to my memory, they're issuing all these now, and they're transferring shares to AST. It's possible there's a deal in the background that's telling NextBridge and AST accept the shares. The people that ignore it will take care of that later, and we'll give you money. We'll buy shares from you. We'll organize a financing through somewhere. I don't even know what firms are out there anymore. Through Bear Stearns, and we'll make sure you get $300 million for a bunch of shares. Whatever. It might mean there's some movement and there's a settlement coming. But I just think it's so obvious why they don't release the blue sheets. Because Wall Street is sharks. Wall Street is piranha. Wall Street is hyenas. Wall Street will turn on the next firm just to make money. And if they release that data, it'll bring down one or two firms, then it'll bring down Wall Street. And why would they precipitate that? Just so you could know, or I could know, the exact amount of shares that are counterfeit. This doesn't make sense to me. Now, the fact that they know they have a problem, and they may try to resolve it. As I've said all along, the way to fix this is with a regulator. We don't have one. Gary Gensler is I can't use that word. He's anyway, he's irrelevant. Gary Gensler is a non-event. But if we either get a regulator or someone in the system saying we got to fix this now, that would be the best for everybody. All right, it's 4:08. They don't even tell us the number of shareholders. Well, again, there's a reason they're being vague about all that. And I don't know. It has everything we've talked about, just doesn't sink in. The system, Gary Gensler doesn't care about over-the-counter at all. I think it's for two reasons. He wants Goldman Sachs to be the source of capital formation for any new idea, and they bring it up the chain of their friends that wear red socks and pinky rings. And then in their chosen make all the money. He doesn't want the competition of capital formation from a vibrant over-the-counter market. That's one. Two, Goldman Sachs makes its profits from lending out hard to locate shares, whether they exist or not. Goldman Sachs thrives on what causes you the most pain. So he doesn't do anything about it. Let me see what he's doing. What are you doing, little boy? Are you okay? Are you okay? Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. I got to take him out. Because I think he might have just peed in the bathroom, but I got to take him out. So anyway, Gensler is a master at deflection. I watched him. So anyway, I'm just going to. I forget what I was trying to say about everything. Look, they will come up with an answer that protects the system. Gensler's there to save Goldman Sachs. Congress is there to save Goldman Sachs. It's their world and we live in it. All right, I'm going to go walk my dog. He's very anxious. So thank you for tuning in. And tomorrow will be a better day, we hope. So cheers.